In the beginning of the movie, we are shown a man named Dale in a small town. He was alone in the whole town, because all the people here had been killed. What was the reason for the deaths of the people? No one knows anything. Dale wakes up every morning, brushes his teeth, and then leaves with his car. Actually, he used to wake up every morning and go to a house. And he used to bury all the dead bodies there. Then, after cleaning the house, he used to put a cross outside the door. He also collects fruits for his food. Dale also had a map of the whole city. In whichever house he would clean, he would put a cross on the house's sign in the map, which would tell him how many houses he had cleaned so far. Then, when Dale was sleeping at night, he would suddenly hear the sound of firecrackers. Hearing these sounds, he was very scared, because there was no one else in the whole town except him. Now, he started thinking of going and seeing, but he did not have the courage. Because it was very late at night, when it was morning, he would go to see. Then, he would see a car on the road, which had met with an accident. Actually, this car was not here before, when Dale would go near it. To see, he would see a girl in the car, who was unconscious. And there was a gun behind the car. Dale would bring the girl to his house and lock her in the room. Because the girl had a gun. After a while, when the girl regains consciousness, she is surprised to see herself locked in a room. Because she also thought that she was the only one left in the whole world. She tries to open the door, but the door was locked from the outside. After a while, she knocks on the door, and Dale understands that the girl has regained consciousness. He goes to the door and asks the girl, "Are you alone?" Then the girl says, "I have been alone for many days. That's why I was constantly traveling." Dale asks her, "Where did you get this gun from?" Then the girl says, "I found it on the road. That's why I kept it with me for my safety." After this, Dale opens the door and tells the girl that she can't stay here. Actually, Dale didn't want to keep her with him. He gives her the key to his car and tells her to leave right now. The girl says, "My name is Grace, but I don't know if I should go there. There is no one in this world. That's why I want to stay with you." But Dale doesn't listen to her and leaves. Dale goes to a library, where he used to live. Because that wasn't his home, where he took Grace. He lives in the library. Now Grace follows him to the library. But he doesn't say anything to Grace. Instead, he gives her food to eat. While eating, Grace tells him, "There are only corpses all around you. This whole city is finished. Don't you find it strange?" Dale, who lives alone, doesn't like this at all. He tells Grace that there used to be 1,600 people in this city. But I was alone then. That's why I don't care if anyone is around. After saying this, he gets up and leaves. Dale's behavior was not right at all. That's why Grace decides that she won't stay with this bald man. She goes in her car and sits down. And as soon as she leaves, Dale comes. Actually, Dale realized his mistake. He tells Grace that you can stay. Grace also agrees with him and starts living with him. Then he tells Grace that he goes to a house every day. And he buries all the dead bodies in that house. He also tells her that we have to collect all the electronic devices in the house. After this, they both go to a house and bring out a dead body from there. And they bury it. After burying, as soon as Dale leaves, Grace says that he is a human being. That's why we should pray for him. Dale agrees with him. And they both pray for that human being. Now, as time passed, their friendship was also growing. They both looked very happy with each other. Then one day, Grace was looking for Dale at home. But he was not at home. She goes to the basement looking for Dale. Where she finds the photos of the people whose houses Dale had cleaned. Actually, whichever house he used to clean, he used to bring the photos of the members of that house with him. Grace does not understand why Dale does this. After this, she goes out to look for Dale. Then she hears the voice of a dog coming from a house. When she goes inside that house, she finds a dog there, which made her very happy. She brings that dog to her house. But at first, Dale is not happy to see that dog. But soon, they both decide that they will name the dog after the dog. Gradually, such days pass by. And their friendship becomes even deeper. Grace misses her family very much. There was also a mark on her neck, which she always hides from Dale. Then one day, he tears the book of Dogdale. Actually, Dale liked books very much. That's why he stays in the library. That's when Grace sees that dog. While messing with the book, Dale also comes in between. Grace apologizes to Dale. Then Deck says, "It's okay. I take care of the dog, you pick up the book." But as soon as Dale picks up the dog, he bites his hand. After this, Grace puts the medicine on Dale's hand. But the next day, Grace does not see that dog anywhere, which makes her very worried. Because she loved the dog very much. When she tells this to Dale, Dale says, "Don't worry. We'll find him soon." After this, they both start looking for that dog. But after a long search, they do not find that dog anywhere. After a while, Grace understands that Dale has killed that dog. That's why she gets very tense and drinks a lot. Then she gets angry and goes to the basement. She brings the photos of those people. She asks Dale, "Why do you bring the photos of the people whose houses you clean?" "Because you don't even know them. And neither do you have any emotions for them. Even after you bury them, you never pray for them." Then Dale says, "I wasn't always like this. I also had a family." After saying this, he leaves. After this, he takes Grace to the greenhouse, where Grace feels very good. Grace also forgives Dale because she had understood that something bad must have happened to Grace. That's why she has completely changed. Now, just like every day, they go out to clean people's houses. But now they both separate and clean. Now they both have a walkie-talkie through which they both remain connected to each other. In just a few days, they had cleaned almost all the houses. And now there were only a few houses left that needed to be cleaned. Now, while looking for such houses, Grace goes a lot further, where she sees the house. She also calls Dale through the walkie-talkie. Here, when Dale reaches that house, Grace was cleaning the house. In this house, Dale becomes very emotional and tells Grace that there is no need to clean this house. With this, Grace understands that this house does not belong to anyone else, but to Dale. She does not have the courage to see the bodies of her family. But after a while, she gets the courage. And she decides to clean this house with Grace. After this, she buries her family and also prays for them. When she returns home, Grace tells her that she wants to tell her something. Saying this, she kisses her. After this, Dale goes to sleep. When she wakes up in the morning, she hears someone's voice coming from downstairs. Hearing this, she gets very scared. Because apart from Grace, there was no one else in the house. He goes downstairs with a gun. Then he sees an old couple. Actually, they were Grace's mom and dad. Grace's dad asks him if he did not tell Dale about us. But Grace was scared. Her dad tells her that there are still a lot of people who are still alive. They have a lot of doctors and they are also treating other people. But Dale does not like all this. That's why he comes out of the house. Grace also follows him. Dale gets angry at him and says, "Why didn't you tell me before?" Then Grace says that they are not my real mom and dad. In fact, these people adopted me. She wanted to tell Dale a lot more. But he does not listen to her and takes the car and leaves. When he comes back home in the evening, Grace's dad tells Dale that we are taking our daughter to California. If you want, you can also come with us. But Dale clearly refuses. Still, Grace's dad writes the address of his house in a book and gives it to him. And they take Grace away. From here, when Grace was sitting in the car with her mom, we see the same mark behind her mom's neck as there was a mark behind Grace's neck. On the other hand, after Dale's departure, he felt very lonely. Because he was used to living with Grace. He decides that he will go to California to meet Grace. That's why he starts looking for that book on which Grace had written the address. Then he takes that address and leaves for California. California was very far, that's why he has to change a lot of cars on the way. And finally he reaches that address. But he does not go inside the house, but waits for the night. When Grace's mom and dad go to sleep, he secretly goes to Grace's room. Then he sees that Grace's eyes are closed. His body is attached to a machine. He immediately picks up Grace. Grace was also surprised to see Dale. He asks Grace, "What is all this?" Then Grace says that my memory is being erased. Hearing this, Dale separates the machine. As soon as he starts taking Grace, his dad comes. And he tells Dale that you can't do this. Dale says that I want to take Grace with me. Grace's dad says that we want to erase her memories so that she can move on in her life. Grace panics from all this. And she shoots her dad, who is not her real dad, and sends him away. In the other world, Grace's stepmother also comes here. She is not at all sad to see her husband dead. And Grace says that I also had a daughter. She did not have any emotions. In fact, Grace's mom also experienced all this. For this reason, she is not sad about anything. And all this was going to happen to Grace now. But Dale came here and saved her. After this, Dale takes Grace and leaves. On the way, he sees a lot of people who are still alive and sitting outside their homes. Grace asks Dale if she killed them and did the right thing. Then Dale answers, and with this scene, this great movie, I think, We Are Alone Now, ends.